Hey creative stampers, welcome back to another episode of Creating with Kristina, and today I want to share with you some time-saving tips that I've discovered over my years of card making. We're all making cards right now and we want to get out as many as we can, especially to those who are shut in. They can't see anybody and no one can go visit them. It's very sad. And we want to get cards to them, but also to those who are working and putting their lives on the line, like our health workers and our police and fire and those first responders. Anyways, and then just to our family and friends. We need to send cards to them too. All right, so with that, my first tip, I'm going to swing the camera down because I'm going to make a card while I'm sharing this tip with you. Okay, so first tip, pre-cut your paper. All right, from here, I take a big pack of white cardstock and I take it down to the local office supply store or even to the FedEx office. They have cutting machines and they will take a 8.5 by 11 pack of paper, cardstock, and just cut it right in half. Or you can have them cut the long way and cut this way also. So you can have, like, we're going to be using this kind of a card today, the ones that flip open, flip up instead of out, so it flips this way. All right, so that's that kind of cut. That is one pre-cut. The other pre-cut that I suggest is take your designer paper that is cut, that is 12 by 12, and cut it down into 4 by 6s. This, why I do 4 by 6 is a card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and so it'll fit the card base perfect this way. However, if you wanted, let me bring it down, if you wanted like it to go from the very top to the very bottom, you need 5 1/2 inches. You don't want to go ahead and cut that early. You want to wait until you've decided what you're designing on the card. Now, one thing is it wouldn't go all the way across, but that's okay. You could use a cardstock that matched, like you could pull out this darker red here and put a strip there. Or you could cut this in half like we're going to do today and make it a 2-inch strip and go from the top to the bottom and leave the rest of it white. So there's lots of options. This just, instead of getting out a big old 12 by 12 when you're about to cut, do a card, you have them all cut in a size that's easy to handle. And also you can get out your little trimmer when you're working with smaller paper. So that is one kind of so that's pre-cut. The next kind of pre-cut is when you are deciding to make a whole bunch of the same card. Like right now it's Easter time and I have on my to-do list to make some Easter cards and I'm going to be wanting to make them all the same. Well, then I'm going to work assembly line, and in that case I'm going to pre-cut all the pieces that I need. So if I need 2-inch by 5 1/2 inch, I'm going to cut all those. This is for a border that we're going to be doing, that's cut. This is scrap paper here, on and on and on. So pre-cutting paper, number one tip, pre-cut your paper. Second is to mount all of your stamps on blocks. So that means investing in multiple size blocks. We're using a stamp set today called Dress to Impress. It has lots of different pieces. If you were going to use all these different pieces, I would suggest you have blocks for each one of the pieces that you're using. That way, and the reason why this saves you time, if I were to use this block over and over again, I would stamp, then have to clean the stamp, take the stamp off, put the new stamp on, ink, stamp, clean the stamp off, take the stamp off, put it in away, get the next stamp out. That little bit of cleaning and taking stamps on and putting them on, though it only seems like a second, when you're doing it over and over and over again on a multi-stepped card, it just takes up a lot of extra time. So invest in extra blocks. Or even better yet, invest in a stamp positioning tool. A stamp positioning tool is great for multi-step stamping. They usually come with more than one plate. I have 2 plates that come with this one. I bought 2 more plates. This stamp positioning tool actually allows you to lift the plate out, flip it around, and put it back in so you can use both sides. So stamp positioning tool is great. Another reason why it's great, not just because you can put all your stamps on at once, but also, let's say I go down and I stamp my sentiment and I come up and I may have like missed a tiny corner of the sentiment. Well, I can just re-ink and re-stamp and it is going to land exactly in the same exact spot. Or maybe the ink saturation, you really want a bright, bold color. And so you can multiple stamping, get more and more ink on the image, and it'll brighten it up. So stamp positioning tools are great. I sell this one in my shop. If you are interested in that, you can contact me. Oops, I can't get that back in there. Hold on just a second. There we go. All right, so that is my second tip. So let's, so first tip was pre-cut your paper. Second tip, mount all the stamps on different blocks before you start. Second, we're going to use a punch instead of dies. And why we're going to do that, all right, this is the punch we're using today. The stamp set that I have actually comes with die cuts. And it actually has a little shoe here. We're going to be stamping the shoe, and you can cut this little shoe out. However, running a die cut machine takes time. And if you're making a whole bunch of cards, you will want to have a faster way of giving your image an accent. And stamping it on a plain piece of cardstock and then punching it out looks just as nice as if you stamped your image and then cut it out with the die cut piece and then put it on your card. So let me show you what I'm saying. Here is my little shoe and my ink. And I'm putting the little shoe right there. All right, now I actually want 2 shoes on here. Here's another little trick, and it's kind of a time-saving trick. I'm going to just cover up my shoe with Post-it notes. This is more of a trick than a tip, but that's okay. Same idea. So I just covered up my shoe there, and so I can place another shoe right behind it. There we go. And voila. So we now have the 2 shoes there. Now, coloring these shoes would take extra time also. So a way to speed up the coloring is to use abstract coloring. Now, this stamp actually comes with abstract coloring stamps here. And if your stamp set doesn't have that, that's okay. Just take a watercolor brush and do your own abstract. But I'm going to do it in the color that coordinates with my paper. And but I'm also going to stamp off. And what I mean by stamp off is this color red that I have is awfully dark. So I'm going to stamp it off first to get a lighter image when I stamp it on here. And it's abstract, so I'm just going to like stamp in the center of it. Oh, I kind of bumped it a little bit there. That's a bummer. Okay. Be careful when you're doing that. Now, I am punching this out, so maybe I can get that out of the way. If not, I've got another trick for getting that out of the way. All right, so here's my punch. And I actually want to punch it this way. Hold on. Where are my scissors? Another time-saving tip is to always have all your supplies right in front of you. And usually I do. I'm just not quite sure what happened to my snips. Hold on, let me just get another pair. There we go. All right. Yeah, that's the way I want my shoes. Trying to, well, you know what? They just barely fit that way, don't they? Yep. Okay, we're just going to do it this way. That's fine. And no, I cannot get that extra red ink out of the way. That's okay. There we go. All right, so that little tip here, that you need a sand eraser. This card is taking a little bit longer than I thought. That's okay. A sand eraser just, well, it's sandpaper, so it's just rubbing the paper right off of there. Pretty good. All right, it's not as bad as it was. Oh gosh, this is... Oh, you know what? I forgot to look at my comments. Who's on today? Whew. Y'all enjoying this? Okay, creating with Kristina, making lots of messes here. All right, now, next tip. Hey, Colleen, punch the same punch, but in the coordinating cardstock, and we're going to put that behind here. However, you can't see it. So to get some of it showing back there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half and lift it up a little on the top and the bottom. So just cut it in half. All right, and take some adhesive. And there we go, and like that. And then I'm just a little bit showing. You want to get it as close to those edges as you can. And this works really great with this punch because it does have a straight edge on the side. All right, so that just kind of outlines it a little extra for you. Excellent, excellent. All right, let's put the rest of this card together very quickly. All right, my base and my designer paper. And now this designer paper here, I am going to be putting underneath it to give it a little accent there. All right, so kind of the same thing we did with the punch. We just cut it in half and we're layering it behind. Okay. And I want to do about 1/4 inch. You can use grid paper or you can just eyeball it. There we go. And then this side. Oops, come here. Okay. So now we have about 1/4 inch on both sides. And I know that the top of the paper is going to the top of the card, but the bottom of the paper is going to stick off on the bottom. So I'm going to put some tape down here on the bottom. And I'm kind of off-center, well, put it here in the camera so you can see what I'm doing. I'm kind of off-centering it here a little bit. So I have a little bit of white showing here and a little more over there. Oh, wait a minute. One more thing is I know I'm putting Hello Fabulous right here, so I need to make sure my paper doesn't get in the way of my sentiment. And then it looks like I don't have enough room to put it, to leave any white showing, so I'm putting right on the edge. All right, there we go. And now, quickly just take your snips and cut the bottom off. There. All right, so far so good. And we've got another little mess up right there. I tell you what, this little sand eraser is great. And our shoes are going to go right here. Okay, just right there on the edge. And to give it just a little extra, we can pop it up on dimensionals. And now you have two choices. You can put the sentiment at the top and the image at the top and the sentiment at the bottom, or vice versa. Either way is great. I had already decided to put it at the top, so I'm going to stay with that. And I'm just going to put that right there, and then take my Hello Fabulous. Now I could put Hello Fabulous right by the shoes in the middle or at the top. I think we'll go at the top where I said I was going to do it in the first place. and voila. All right. So I've given you 3 tips so far. The first tip is pre-cut your paper. Second tip is mount all of your stamps on blocks before you start. Third tip, use punches instead of dies. And the fourth tip is keep it simple. This card is done. All right. It has a little extra. It has some outlining here, but all it has is an image, a little designer paper, and a sentiment. It's still a gorgeous card. People will love this card. And you can make a lot of them very quickly. So that is my fourth tip. Keep it simple, clean and simple. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. There we go. I hope you all enjoyed this video today and that you found it very useful. And if you did, you may also find my newsletter useful. Every week I send out a newsletter and I give a card tutorial on there also, along with other tips, advice, and product information. So with that, thank you all for watching. Colleen, enjoy the rest of your day, and we will talk at you next time. Bye-bye.